Hello Android gamers, great news! Today I'm going to show you how to play classic PC games on Android with an incredible pair of emulation apps, ExaGear RPG and ExaGear Strategies. Check out my full how-to guide here in the XDA Developers Forum. Look in the video's description for this and don't forget to like and subscribe. My detailed guide will take you through step-by-step how to play games that are supported and unsupported by the app. Now, this is an incredible app that runs all kinds of great games such as Fallout and Arcanum, Heroes of Might and Magic, Jagged Alliance 2, and I'm just talking about officially. Unofficially, you can run things like Diablo 2, Full Speed, Homeworld. Just an incredible app all around. You got to check it out, and my full guide will tell you what to do. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what is ExaGear? Well, ExaGear is a complex emulation app that allows you to play all these classic games on your Android device. It features one of the most powerful emulated systems on Android, and yes, I've tested them all, and it's relatively easy to set up. We're going to get into the specs of that in just a second. Now, there's a lot of official controller types adapted for the official games, but unofficially, you can use third-party controllers, Bluetooth devices, and set up controls with other apps to get around the control issues and just play tons of games. We're going to show you step by step how to do this. Now, our emulated system. Now, we have emulated a 1 gigahertz Pentium 3 system. The core number varies depending on your device. And it has a GPU, which currently is 130 meg Wine Direct Draw emulation, but it's planned to have GL support in the future. So this is an app you're really going to want to have in your collection and just wait to see what happens. The HD is emulated to the size of your device. Both internal and external memory work just fine. I've tested it out. And the memory works for the emulated size of your device. Here's my DirectX dialog from my Note 2. It's fairly powerful. You can see Intel Pentium 3, 4 CPUs, got almost 2 gigabytes of usable memory. And here we have the emulated GPU, which is just DirectDraw at the moment. The Direct3D is not working or OpenGL support, but is planned for the future. It'll be incredible to see once it gets there, so stay tuned for that. I'll be making videos about that, of course. Now I'm going to show you step by step how to get it installed yourself. First off, you will need to have the ExaGear RPG or ExaGear Strategies app installed on your Android device. Each application runs separate games, so check it out, which games are officially supported on their Play Store page. Here's ExaGear RPG, officially supported are Fallout 1 and 2, Might and Magic 6, 7, and 8, and Arcanum, not on the page yet. This will be subject to change as more games are supported, such as Diablo 2. ExaGear Strategies also has its own separate supported games, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Disciples 2, Civilization 3, and I believe Panzer Generals 2. These are all the official games, so get it installed on your Android device. It will open it up for the first time, and it will unpack the game data and create the folders needed to play the game. Once unpacked, a basic set of instructions will be shown. No games are included with the app. You'll have to provide them yourself and transfer the data over from your PC and launch it on your Android device. ExaGear is offered as a free trial for 3 days. I would highly recommend testing out the games you intend to play in this period to make sure it's compatible with your device and runs properly. Once your trial has expired, you'll be prompted to purchase a controller set. If you don't want to do that, you'll be granted 10-minute sessions in which you can test out other games. Now we're going to talk about selecting a game. Now, officially supported games have controller types designed for that game. And unofficial games will be hard to set up. You'll have to figure out the controls yourself. Having a third-party controller usually works in most situations. For ExaGear RPG, we have recommended controls for each game: Arcanum, Fallout 1 and 2, Jagged Alliance 2, Might and Magic 6, 7, and 8. For ExaGear Strategies, we have the recommended controls for Disciples 2, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Panzer General 2, and Civilization 3. I'd recommend previewing these controls before starting up the game. They can take a little getting used to. There's a lot of tapping involved. Again, third-party controllers work great for getting into the game. Now that's for our officially supported games. We'll be going over unofficially supported games later on. There's a huge list of games to choose from, but we'll need some extra steps in getting these going. So you can check the video for a time code and fast forward to that now, or follow along to get the officially supported game set up. Once we've previewed our controls, let's get our game data set up. We're going to plug in our Android device. locate our PC game data and transfer it over. Here's the storage on my Note 2. You can use either the internal storage or the external SD card. By default, we'll be using the internal storage. We'll open that up, find the ExaGear folder, and open it up. This works for both applications. Both apps will automatically scan for ExaGear folders in both the internal and external memory. All we need to do is place our game data in this location, but we'll have to locate it on our computer first. I've suggested a bunch of locations where games might get installed, but you may need to search around a bit for them. For instance, see program files and good old game, GOG.com, where quite a few of the Fallout games might be located. I highly recommend using the GOG games for playing. On Android, they run quite well. Simply locate a game you want to add, copy and paste it into the folder on your Android device, wait for it to transfer, and you'll be ready to play the game. In addition, we can place the game data into our SD card external memory. However, you may need to create the folder called ExaGear if it's not here by default. On my device it wasn't. You'll need to create a new folder, call it ExaGear just like this, open it up, and you can place the games in there as well. Either location works just fine. Now, I've also noted that you could directly download the game data to your Android device and place it in the ExaGear folder with a File Explorer program. I tested that, it works, but you'll need to have a direct download for a direct play version of the games. Here's a few default locations to look for your game data. Now our game data is transferred onto our Android device. Disconnect it. We're going to locate the ExaGear RPG and Strategies app, either one from our Android device, and start them up. Here I'm starting ExaGear RPG. From the main menu, you can see the supported exe list or exes I've renamed to be supported. You can see the folder location underneath, which kind of gives it away if it's supported or not. We'll need to select Show Unsupported Executables to show all the unsupported ones. Scroll down. Even some unrenamed ones will work fine, like Fallout Tactics has the BOS exe, and Diablo 2 will work as well unrenamed. Before launching a game, you may want to click the three dots on the right hand side. This will get you into the run configuration, which will change the defaults. Here you can change the default launch resolution. Lower runs better, but some games have a higher resolution by default. Reducing the color depth can help to improve performance. Local is for the language settings, don't really need to set that. And the default controls, you can choose or change the default controls for whatever game you're running. Once you've had a look at the defaults, you go back and launch the game. You may be prompted to choose the controller types the first time you launch the game and the trial. You can purchase the game later if everything goes well and it runs on your device. Now we're going to go back to my guide and talk about how to set up unofficially supported games and controllers. Refer back here to the launched game list in the hyperlink here. Now this is in Russian, but I've translated it here, the columns and the various letters associated with it. And there's a handy JPEG here, which will show you what to do. Now basically the overview of the list helps us plot in information in the run configuration we just talked about. In addition, we'll need to get the appropriate exe name. We'll need to take the exe file in the folder for the game, create a copy of it, and rename it to the suggested name here. This will help the game to launch properly and get it to show up in the supported game list. Here is the suggested resolution, the suggested color depth for the game, suggested language encoding, but it doesn't really matter if it's in English or Russian, I found. And importantly here, last, is the comments. Now some games have a note about an additional sound DDL. You'll need to get this and place it into the game folder in order to get it to launch with ExaGear. Download these sound files from the link here. This is the older SoundLibs implementation of the sound. 2.0.4 is the version you want. Put a little check mark here and click download. It'll download the DDL files as a zip file, and you'll simply need to extract the file and place it into your game folder. For instance, this gets Diablo 2 working. Simply download, extract the files, open it up, open up your game folder, and copy and paste the two files into your game folder. If they're there already, replace them. And now we're ready to transfer Diablo 2 over and play it. These are subject to change. Here's the launched game list in Russian. As you can see, there's quite a few games that are launchable and playable, but will need a little modification. Check it out here, and you'll be playing unsupported games in no time. All the instructions that we talked about previously work just the same, except renaming the exe files when required, and the sound DDL files when required as well. Now, we have no controller sets for these particular games. Some games, like Fallout Tactics, you can simply use the recommended controls for regular Fallout, and that works pretty much fine. However, using third-party controllers, Bluetooth controllers, can really help to make things playable. But of course, you might not have a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard with you while you're on the bus trying to play a game. So you can get paid apps. I suggest Game Keyboard Plus to overlay controls that you can use on screen. I have some suggestions. Now, first off, you'll have to set up the app and customize the controls. You basically have to replace the keyboard with the app. Go through the setup for that. Reduce the transparency so you can see the screen through the controls, and enable non-blocking mode. This will allow you to use the touchscreen controls in addition with the buttons overlaid. So it's really great. I have a picture of Arcanum here, and it really helps to enhance the controls. Once there's official controller sets, like there are for Arcanum now, you don't really need to do that as much, but it can also help to have an additional button if you have a small screen that you can click on. So a little extra tips about adding custom controls. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how to patch and play games with ExaGear RPG and strategies. Some games have great patches and mods available for them. Fallout 1 and 2, for instance, and even Arcanum. We're going to be putting lots of notes and tips about playing these games here. If you have any problems running Fallout 1 or 2 as well, these patches and recommendations will get them going for you. So please check here if you have any issues. First off, let's talk about Fallout 1. I'd highly recommend checking out the Fallout Fixed patch. It's got all other available mods and patches rolled into it, and it's the best #1 Fallout experience in my opinion. Check out the main page here over at No Mutants. Big thanks to the developer. I played this myself. It really runs great. I'd highly recommend getting the Just Fixes patch here instead of the full custom, because some of the mods had issues, but you'll be fine if you stick with the fixes only here. In addition, if you have any problems running the game, for instance, it starts up and then crashes before launching, get the optional custom config here. It just fixes the route to the sound files in case that's a problem for you. Moving on, Fallout 2. Now, I highly recommend getting KillApp's unofficial Fallout 2 patch. This will both fix lots of things in the game, and if you follow my instructions here, you'll do the manual patch and fix the compatibility with the game. Some people have been reporting that they haven't been able to launch it. Now, this is just the vanilla patch here, but you can also run KillApp's incredible Fallout 2 restoration project. Now, this brings back all the additional game data that was originally intended to be in the game, and just incredible stuff, lots of fixes, everything else in his regular mod as well, of course. And you can just check it out here and give a big thanks to KillApp the Bear Dude. It's just an incredible patch. He's been supporting it for years, and it's the best possible Fallout 2 experience. And yes, it works with ExaGear RPG. Check out my patch instructions here, and there's a little workaround to be noted. You'll have to, of course, patch it for the older Win95, Win98. You'll also need to use the older high-resolution patch here. I know some people have had issues with it, but this is the way to fix it. Just follow my instructions for that. Moving on, Fallout Tactics. Now you can simply show the hidden BOS game exe and the game will launch normally. You can use the Ferrum controls, but I highly recommend changing the default resolution to 800 by 600 with a 16 color depth. So make sure the game runs well for you. And finally, Arcanum. I'd also recommend running Arcanum in 800 by 600, which is the default for that game with the 16-bit color depth. And I found that the unofficial Arcanum patch actually worked fine with ExaGear. You can try it out yourself and let me know what you think. And I've listed all the available Arcanum mods here. So check out the unofficial Arcanum patch if you want to try that out. And here's all the additional patches and available things that I had for Arcanum just lying around. If you want to try them out, do it at your own risk. Make sure that you have a separate Arcanum folder backed up just in case. But lots of fun to try out all the available mods. Now, Diablo 2, renaming the EXE is not necessary, but it's always nice to get it above the supported list there. And you will need the sound DDL file. Now, a lot of people have asked about Diablo 2, and I have tried Lord of Destruction 1.13c, and that worked fine. B also worked fine. So check that out. Get the DDL for the sound here, throw it in the file, and you'll be ready to play Diablo 2 full speed. Now, I've got a montage of game footage we're going to go in and show you now. Look in the video's description to switch around and see your favorite games played. Please like and subscribe to see the latest updates with ExaGear RPG and strategies on Android. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Your presence honors me. Greetings, stranger. I'm not surprised to see your kind here. Beware foul demons and beasts. There are many foes here. The rogues are safe for the moment.
What is it that you want of me? What can I answer for you? This is Shrouded Hills. There's an Opinari temple here. The Elder Joachim told me that it was once a very important place to the Pinari. I don't know much else about the place beyond that.
Thank goodness you came. I am in desperate need of assistance. My daughter Tandy is missing. Fleet intelligence going online. Our task is to analyze all sensor data and generate mission
35%
objectives.
capacity and rising. The mothership will be ready for the hyperdrive test in 10 minutes.
Reporting. Stand by to begin combat trials. First, we will be monitoring formation performance. Target drones have been provided here. Assign a formation to your fighters and destroy the drones. Formation confirmed. Understood. Target confirmed. Waiting in line. Entering holding pattern. Acknowledged. Formation trial complete. Flight analysis shows a 22% increase in combat performance.